is the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. Objectively, the biggest and baddest phone of 2021 so far. Yes, it is. I'm late with my review because I really wanted the S21 Ultra to live up to all of the marketing claims. Full disclosure, this is my personal device. I won it on the media live stream of the S21 launch. We had to participate with questions. I guess I asked interesting enough questions and they sent me 256 gig 5G version. So on to the battery life. So I did the first week 1440p adaptive refresh rate, which goes up to 120 Hz. Then I tried a couple of days 1440 60 Hz. Then I did 1080 adaptive, and now I'm doing 1080 60 Hz. And I go into the developer mode and I turn down the animations to half speed and the phone feels pretty snappy. To put it into context, the battery endurance that I got with the S21 Ultra, even at 1080p 60 Hz, was beaten comprehensively by the iPhone 12 mini. An average of 5.5 hours screen on time is just not good enough in 2021, and especially with a 5000 milliamp hour battery, and it's a 28,000 Rand phone. And running high temperatures when under moderate load, not even like serious load, so like WhatsApp video calls, gaming, this thing is not shy to get hot. It's not a good look for Samsung. I know we're way past Note 7 days, but it's still not great. Do you know what the biggest pain point is? There's no charger in the box. And this bad boy needs serious wattage to charge up this really big battery. And the adaptive chargers that I have laying around is not doing the trick to get this thing juiced up. Okay, wait, not so fast. So I know we've been living without headphone jacks for a long time now, especially on the Samsungs. They took that away with the Note 10 series 2 years ago, but Samsung still does weird things with the audio output, and my standard USB-C to 3.5mm audio jack dongles do not work with it, so I need to run a separate USB interface, which is usually my Samsung Go mic, just so I can get real-time audio. And I'm cutting podcasts in here, I'm editing this video, will probably be edited on here, and I need that real-time audio. Bluetooth is not going to cut it. So not including cabled headphones in the box and not including a USB-C to audio adapter in the box is a real sticking point, and you're not communicating this with your customers. Is this a hugely capable phone? Yes it is. Is this the most feature complete phone on the market right now? No, not even by a long shot. Even with the addition of the S Pen support on this device, Samsung has removed more useful features than it has enabled. Something like LG's Velvet and LG's V60 beat this for feature completeness, gives you headphone jack, stylus support. I told you last year on the S20 to avoid that 108 megapixel sensor at HM1 because Samsung doesn't do good when they change the lens and the sensor in the same year. This year, with the HM3, everything is fixed. Reliable autofocus with laser assist, ISO performance is stellar, and the renamed live focus, which is now portrait mode, just puts Samsung even further ahead of the competition than it already was. So, to combat that narrow plane of focus that you get from a big sensor and a wide aperture, Samsung widened the lens a little bit from a 26mm to a 24mm, getting a wider field of view, more things in focus. Is this brand new 3x zoom lens is now my favorite on here, but it only works in really good conditions, so like bright daylight, that sort of thing. You don't want to take it doesn't even go to this lens when you are shooting in low light conditions because it will just crop in on the main sensor. If you want all the specs, I'll link the GSM Arena spec page down at the bottom. You know everything you need to know about this phone already. For our purposes, I'm going to go through a little bit of camera specs. This phone is packing 2 zoom lenses, 10x periscope and a 3x optical. And both of them are rocking 10 megapixel image sensors. And then you get the 108 megapixel, then you get the 12 megapixel ultra wide, which now has autofocus. So now you get that neat trick when you're in auto mode and you're doing macro shots. The main sensor will hand over to the ultra wide so you can get like really close and detailed images of macro stuff. That distance is arbitrary where it does that handover thing, because when you are shooting in pro mode, you can actually get closer to your subject with that main sensor than what the auto mode will have you believe. And if that automated camera selection sounds familiar, it's because Samsung just straight up stole Huawei's homework. All the stuff they did on the P40 Pro Plus, it's here. Different sensors, obviously different quality. I will actually say everything except the main sensor is higher quality, because Huawei still doesn't know how to make a decent ultra wide yet. That said, Samsung still does give you enough actual control over which lenses it's selecting, and you can select things to a certain extent when it comes to the zooms. On the zoom side, 3x, great. 10x, good. 30x, good, in very good conditions. 100x, no. Anything above 30, no. It's fun if you want to see something like long range or something, like, well, go for it, go wild. Ultra wide is the biggest loser with this new configuration because the main sensor is plenty wide enough for you to not really find enough use for that ultra wide unless you're really taking in a major landscape or something, but then I just fire up like a panorama on the main lens. This big beautiful screen really didn't need 120 Hz refresh rate. Like, I really don't notice that thing, and I was altering, I told you I altered between the different stuff week by week. I had the S21 Plus and the S21 Ultra to hold side by side, running at different refresh rates, trying to see what differences, and there's no content for 120 Hz on a smartphone. I'm sorry, it matters less than 5G. And 5G doesn't matter right now. Like, at least there's a 5G indicator that pops up when you're in those rare occasions that you're in a 5G hotspot and your SIM card is provisioned for 5G service. So you can at least show people that you have 5G, or you can like take a screenshot and show people later, or you can run a speed test and it will say 5G. But yeah, like the 120 Hz, there's no real benefit. You can't brag about it. It just kills your battery. On the software side, One UI 3.1 continues the happy marriage of Microsoft services and Samsung's interpretation of Android. My photos sync wonderfully with my OneDrive account. Samsung Notes, which now with the S Pen support, I can do my handwritten notes like it's a note phone, like my beloved Note 20. PS, I'm willing to swap you Note 20 5G for this bad boy. Talk to me, hit me up in the comments. Let's see what we can do. Samsung Notes now can integrate with OneNote as well, so all of my handwritten notes will carry over. It's not as elegant as I would have hoped, but it's a function that's there. So Samsung is starting to do that old TouchWiz thing where they crowbar like unnecessary software touches and bloatware in here. You can delete most of it. It's just a tiny irritation. But they're getting the cloud connectivity thing good, which is relying on OneDrive, which works for me because I have a Microsoft 365 account. And yeah, so I still say that they are leading Android world right now when it comes to their software. And file management is also great. Within the My Files app, the full file browser, I can connect to my NAS remotely, which is excellent. And on the voice assistant side, Bixby has regressed since it was first introduced on the S8. I'm not a big fan. It's another point where Samsung has actually taken away features. But now it's merely a routine engine and it does that excellently. And then you have Google Assistant doing all the heavy lifting on the voice assistant side. Bottom line, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra is a big, bold, beautiful, polished step for the S line. But I don't think Samsung can maintain its lead over its competition much longer if it keeps stripping away features that dedicated users like me actually found useful. Samsung Pay, for instance, was needlessly neutered of its MST capabilities, so now it's just another NFC payment, tap to pay sort of thing, and I can use my banking app for that. It took away expandable storage, which, I mean, if you're spending 28,000 Rand for a phone and you want as many features as possible, just like throw everything in there. You had no reason, Samsung, to strip away anything from this device. I like the S21 Ultra a lot. It is miles ahead of the rest of its S21 family, and even those devices are at the very front of the pack when it comes to Android phones right now. But Samsung needs to do better if it wants to keep me around as a dedicated customer and an evangelist. But that's just my opinion.